Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclone. Welcome to more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. So I've been talking about wanting to do the London-Faversham high-speed route for a while, and as you can see, I am looking at the 395 on the route right now. And the reason I'm looking at the 395 is because I actually made a mistake. I thought the 465 came with the route, but it was actually a separate DLC, and therefore it was an additional train to the route. So the 395 is the actual train that comes with the route. Being a high-speed route, it makes sense, or partial high-speed route, it does make sense. So we're going to go ahead and start with the 395. And we're going to come back to the 465, which means I've got a lot of 465 visits to make in the near future. But for now, we do need to get this original train looked at first. And I'm doing it from the tutorial tab because the tutorial missions are in the tutorial tab, unlike in some of the other situations. Like the 465, you'll actually find in the actual main standard scenario page. The 466 tutorial, it's in the main standard scenario page. But these ones are over here in tutorial because this is a different type of train. It's a high-speed train. It's got some different controls. You got to go to kilometers for some of the journey, for example, because it is high speed and things like that. New some certain things to change the type of traction. So we're going to figure all this out as we drive. We're going to be starting at Faversham, which is not on the high-speed route, but is nonetheless traversed as a terminal point to our route on the journey to St. Pancras. So let's go ahead and take our first look at the Class 395. Good morning, driver. Today you will be learning to drive the Class 395. The following information will explain all you need to know for driving on the London-Faversham route. Feel free to read through this information at your own pace before starting your journey. Close the window, continue. Okay, moving down. We know what this stuff is. We know the task list is where that is, so we're not going to read about that. Now, keep in mind, I don't have the HUD up right now, so you're not actually seeing the highlight on the HUD, but we know what that is too. This is a combined throttle brake, so that's what you need to know. It's a combined throttle brake with four levels. We know what the reverser is. And two types. Okay, here's the important information. On this route, two types of power are used: DC and CTRL, which I think means control. From Faversham up to Ebbsfleet, you will be using DC. Beyond Ebbsfleet up to St. Pancras, you will need to use control. Switching between the two is simple. First, you need to make sure that the train has stopped and that the reverser is set in the neutral position. There are a few lights within your cab you will need to pay attention to. You are able to look around the cab whilst these messages are on screen by holding down the right mouse button and moving the mouse. Zoom in and out with the up and down arrow keys, which is basically like this. Okay. When you select third rail, press I. The DC light will illuminate. When you start any scenario, this will already be set up for you, as you can see, which is right there. There it is. Right there next to the, I'll put it right next to each other. There you go, right next to you. Right, this above it now, see? That one. The only time you will need to switch to a different power supply is at Ebbsfleet. Before you can drive the high-speed section, you must ensure that you are using control for overhead. Close the window, continue. So basically you have to make sure that the control is on for the Ebbsfleet to St. Pancras section. But if you're in DC, then you're basically able to go all the way to Faversham or from Faversham. So since we're starting at Faversham, we shouldn't have to do anything yet on this tutorial. But when we go to Ebbsfleet, we'll have to get tutorialed on changing over. And I think the difference is since we already have DC set, we're going to be doing it the opposite way to get to that section later. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next message here. And obviously when you switch to overhead power, there it is, press O. So I and O. The control light will illuminate. Right now you can see it's not on. You will not be required to do this for the current scenario as you will only be driving as far as Gillingham. I actually said that already, but thank you. Close this one to continue. Once you have selected either DC or control, you must press the pantograph up-down shoe, or up shoes down control, sorry. That's P, so I, O, and P. After a few seconds, the line volt light should illuminate. If it does not, then you may have selected the incorrect power type. So you want to make sure that light is always on, which, there it is, right there, above the display again, above the message. That's the button. Or that's the light, rather, right there. Once the line volt light is illuminated, you will need to press the pantograph up shoes down control once again. The MCB VCB light will extinguish and you will be ready to drive. And that light is not on now. It's the one below that white light. Amongst your other controls on the UI, you will notice we know what the AWS is, so we don't need to really talk about that. Is there anything fancy about it here? Nope, I know how that works. Let's try Pause. Let's try driving to Sittingbourne. Put the reverser into the forward position. You will hear the AWS clear sound, followed by the AWS warning alarm, which you will need, yada, yada, yada. Once you've done this, move the combined throttle and brake forward to the P1 to apply power. Yep, we know how that works. So let's go ahead and bring up the HUD now that we finally have control. Oh, nice. Ding. And let's go ahead. What is this? Okay, I don't think this view is a good one. That was not a good view at all. What was that? Wow. Wow. So let's go ahead and just see what happens when I stay in this view. This is actually kind of stupid and scary. What is this view? Okay, I think this is a case where the controls for the train, I think this is a case where the train was set up before the current control mechanism I'm using for display was in place, and as a result, we have a very, very strange wide view. I think that is broken. I think that is completely broken. Whilst driving, if you are inactive for 1 minute, you will hear the driver vigilance alarm. You respond to this by pressing enter on the numpad. Failing to do so will activate the emergency brakes. Yep. This says the driver vigilance. I don't think we can turn this off. In the event that your emergency brakes do activate, and you hear the emergency alarm, you can deactivate them by moving the combined throttle and brake control into the emergency position and then back. So you have to actually put it into emergency to clear the emergency. There you go. So we're up to 15. I'm going to leave it no higher than 15 for now. We are about to enter a new speed limit, though, of 60 miles per hour. We are currently in miles per hour, leaving from Faversham, by the way. And we are only going to Rainham for a stop, which, by the way, is the start of the Chatham Main Line route. And then we're going to continue to Gillingham, which is where we finish one of our Chatham Main Line scenarios. You have to get to Sittingbourne as well. So we're picking up passengers from Sittingbourne along the way. Oh, I go to 60. I almost misdid that. 75 is now going to be our speed limit. So being a tutorial, I'm assuming we're going to get basic signals here to make it easy to learn how to drive the train. But there is going to be a signals tutorial, which we don't really need, but there might be some information related to high-speed train travel in there. It still could be useful to take a look at that tutorial. So we are going to look at that. Also, for those who might be playing for the first time, it's useful to get it, even as a regular player, a refresher doesn't hurt. That's why you see, even in the case of being a cop, for example, you have to learn all the time how drunk driving is handled and how they deal with that, and you're going to be getting new guidance on how to handle those kind of situations on a regular basis. So it helps to be retrained on something to make sure you understand completely how it is done, even if it seems like a waste of time. Which, in the game setting it is, but why not? Wow, this is looking like, I'm not sure if this is a clear sky or if this is actually some kind of weird snow situation here. The scenario date is January. I do remember seeing the scenario date for this is January. So we are definitely seeing snow outside, that's without question. But I can't tell if that's a clear sky or if that's just some kind of fog. Okay, we're on a downhill slope that I didn't account completely for. Thankfully, I caught it in time. It's a 1 in 132 gradient that we're currently on. Fortunately, we are using minimal brake applications to keep the train under control as we continue on this downhill. We're now able to go 85 anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and speed up. To pick up passengers, simply click On the load unload icon located on the HUD or press T on the keyboard in mid travel. Seriously? You will need to pick up passengers at Sittingbourne, Rainham, and Gillingham in order to complete this scenario. So we'll continue. Okay. I mean, we knew that already, but we're now on a 1 in 355 downhill gradient. Well, actually, I might as well go up a little more. Why not? We can go 85. Let's just do it. Oh, we can go 90 actually. Okay, we'll go 90. I didn't see the speed limit increase, but we'll go with it. That was a one-tone horn. Gross. We're right at 90, so I'm going to take the throttle off. We're going to coast here for a little bit just to make sure what kind of gradient we're on. It's going to be an uphill gradient in a moment, so I can probably keep a minimal speed application. We're going to be stopping less than 3 miles anyway. Sky's looking a little friendlier now. A little more blue. Okay, you see the green coming up on the HUD? There it is. Next, we will go through the signaling system for this route. There is a train ahead of you, so you will need to be aware of the signals and what they mean. Also, you must be prepared to respond to the AWS, even in the menu. Or in the map. Well, we're getting our signal tutorial already. Red light, danger, stop. Single yellow light, preliminary caution. Yep. Double yellow lights, preliminary caution, proceed to find the next signal is flying yellow. Green, just go. So yeah, 1 yellow means it's a red up ahead. 2 yellows means it's a single yellow up ahead. And green means just do whatever. Quick peek at the map to show the train ahead. Apparently there's no train ahead. Oh, there is that's not the train. That's not on our track. What do you mean there's a train ahead? I don't see a train ahead, do you? Okay, we're gonna slow down now. So we have no timeline. We don't have to rush into our stops here, but let's just see how quickly we can do this. While still being safe, most importantly. I feel like I didn't slow down quickly enough. So, I'm coming in way too fast. Okay, we're learning that the brakes on this train are not very good. This is useful information. So we're a little bit slow on, or a little bit too far on this one because I did not know what kind of brake power we needed. But we're gonna work with it as we can. We're gonna open the doors, and that's our stop. Learning how to drive this thing at Sittingbourne. Well done. You successfully managed to pick up passengers at your first stop. Continue on to Rainham and Gillingham, also known as the Chatham Main Line. So, leaving Sittingbourne, our next stop is Rainham. We're going to see if we can get our brakes down a little more efficiently next time around. We have that test about 6 miles from now. 90 remains our speed limit, 90 miles per hour. We are going to be getting a lower speed limit up ahead. Looks like a 70. I believe that is the Sheerness branch heading off to the right up there. That was marked as a separate DLC. We'll take a quick peek at it. That was marked as a separate DLC heading up the branch over to the Sheerness area. It was included with the original route. However, the scenery apparently was not in. So the reason why you go in the workshop and you see Sheerness branch scenarios with the same ID as the main route is because the Sheerness route was already there, therefore the main route was there. It's just that the DLC added the scenery. This was an old method that was used by RSC to... hello, warning of the 70. This was an old method used by RSC for being able to extend routes later on. They were going to do it, I think, with the Riviera line, the original Riviera line from 2014 as well. They don't do that anymore, and they never actually did put the scenery on the Riviera line. They just did a Riviera line in the 50s instead. So that gave us the trains in that area and all the steamers that came with that route, instead of finishing the Riviera in the original Riviera line route, which, by the way, was used for the BHBP project, which actually completes that area to some extent. So, yeah, that's already taken care of. They didn't have to put the scenery on themselves. We got it taken care of in the community. One day I will try to run the BHBP route. I do have concerns that it will destroy my computer, but we'll see what happens. The one major problem with the BHBP route for me is that I won't have the overhead that is used, the overhead wires, which are I think they actually use the ones from a different site. They don't use the ones that come with the original route or from Just Trains, if they have them, because I think they have the some of that section as well. So they don't actually use the default wires. They actually use their own, made by someone else. So that's a bit of a nuisance. I wonder how many people actually drive the route without the overhead wires because they don't really care for that. I'd be very curious about that. Or if there are people who actually try to swap the wires and see what the swapped wires do. I might try it with swapped wires. I'm curious. I'm curious how that will work. I will see. But that's another day. That's not today. Oops. Let's not pass 75. We'll stop right there. There's Rainham coming in now on our information. We have a double yellow, so we're going to have to start slowing down a little early here, which I'm going to do. So there's that train that's ahead of us. Going to keep a minimal brake applied. I'm going to see if we get a double yellow up ahead. That will tell us what we need to do. There's a 90 sign at the platform, but that means nothing if we can't get there. That looks like a single yellow signal. Now, since we have no urgent time limit to work with here, I'm not going to make any assumptions on signals. I'm just going to go and at whatever speed I feel is safe. 30 for me is safe for right now. I'll put a little bit more brakes on because I think that is still a red up ahead. I think it just turned yellow. We'll zoom in a little bit. You can see indeed it is a yellow signal. We are clear to go. But we're going to be stopping at the platform, so we don't need to put too much speed on. We're just going to go ahead and go normally. Oh, it's double yellow, so we don't have to worry about the end of the platform anymore. That's good news. For me, since I like to overshoot. So applying minimal brakes for right now. Putting on a little bit of a heavier brake. Clear the signal warning there. I return to a minimal brake so we can crawl in and come to a stop right before the signal. That's what my objective is going to be now. Stop before the signal. Or if I find a better sign to work with, that is a 6... Oh, that was my sign. That's a 6-car stop. I should have stopped there. This'll work. We'll take it. Arrival at Rainham, platform number 1. We are departing now to a green signal, passing the 8-car stop at Rainham, leaving Rainham on the way to Gillingham. There's our 10 and 12 car. We're now in a 90 mile per hour. It is both on this route, so this will happen a lot. It's a 90 mile per hour speed limit that we have to work with right now. I don't know why I'm zoomed in. Oh, interesting. Apparently, okay, that'll work. Why not? We'll take that. Really not sure why I was zoomed in there. Oh, that's the view I wanted. Okay, we got it. Might be some view inconsistency along this route. Inconsistency. That was the you have not responded for 1 minute. Are you awake alarm? I.e. the vigilance alarm. We have a 60 coming up. And we also have Gillingham now within range. We have what I presume is a double yellow signal at this stage. That or a warning for the 60. We might get that separately. There's the 60 warning. No, that's the double yellow, actually. That's our double yellow. And we actually have a red before the platform, so we're going to need to screech this thing down. Ooh, that's a bigger train. We maintain a single yellow, so we're going to have to treat the next signal as poison, which I fully expect. Moving up to 34 for now, because I do expect we're going to have that straighten itself out by the time we reach that signal. I see what looks like a light up there. I can't tell if that's the yellow or red ahead of me, so I'm going to hit the brakes just to be safe. It's a yellow. No need to go too far beyond 30. We have our double yellow. It's going to be a single yellow at the platform. We don't care because we're going to be finished. We're finished when we get there. Now a major drop to our speed at the Gillingham platform. I'm going to go ahead and lower that decline now so we can crawl in a little more. We've been here before. One-click shopping, yeah! We'll use our station stop here. So that's arrival at Gillingham. End of our part of this service. Let's look at our train. So you've now been to Gillingham twice. Once in the 375 and now in a 395. We're going to one day be rolling through on a 465 because they exist on both routes that we bring these two trains in on. So this is a station we are going to get to see a lot of on these routes and possibly on some merged routes as well if I look into merged routes. That might take us through here as well. I'm very curious about those, so we'll see when the time comes for those. In the meantime, good job, driver. You have completed the Class 395 driver training. I have an achievement for that. I'm going to get that for you on the results screen, which I was not planning to show you, but now I'm going to for achievement purposes. Let's take a look at that. So you can see the achievement Class 395 driver, which I presume means you've driven and completed a service in a Class 395. You don't get it until the scenario is completed. I assume this works for any Class 395 scenario that you successfully complete. So we now are considered a Class 395 driver. Yay! That was a very quick training compared to what you get in real life. It'd be fun to be a train driver, wouldn't it? Anyway, so that's the end of that training scenario. Make sure you stay tuned for another tutorial scenario tomorrow. That will be on the signals tutorial. I don't know if we're going to be driving or if we're going to be doing something else with that, but we'll find out. If we do that, then I'm going to save the big scenario, which is the full drive to St. Pancras from Faversham for Tuesday's video. I do know that tomorrow's scenario will start from Ebbsfleet. So we're going to be driving from Ebbsfleet. So I assume it is a driving scenario. We're probably going to do some high-speed driving in tomorrow's scenario. Let's take a look at that for tomorrow. And in the meantime, have a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for your part of the world. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. I'm Cyclone. Bye-bye.